The inner universe is grappling with consciousness. What is this thing we call consciousness? It is a question that has puzzled thinkers for centuries. It is our private inner world. It is the feeling of being. We experience sights, sounds, and thoughts. These all weave together into a single flowing stream. This stream is our subjective reality. It is what it feels like to be alive, to be aware. This awareness seems whole, unbroken. It is a unified experience, or so it appears to us from the inside. We feel like a single self, a captain of our own ship, navigating the waters of existence with a singular perspective guiding our journey through the complexities of life. This sense of a unified self is fundamental to our human experience. Imagine a film, a continuous reel playing in the theater of our minds. Each frame is an experience, a sensation, a thought. Consciousness is the light of the projector, making the film visible and coherent. Without it, there would only be darkness, an unexperienced sequence of events. It is the very fabric of our being, the stage upon which our personal dramas unfold. Roger Sperry, a navigator of neural pathways. Into this fascinating and complex domain stepped Roger Walcott Sperry. He was a neuropsychologist, a biologist, a man driven by an insatiable curiosity about the brain. Sperry was not one for mere speculation. He was an experimentalist, a careful observer. His work took him deep into the very structure of the nervous system. He sought to understand how it develops, how it functions, and how it gives rise to behavior, and ultimately to the mind itself. His early research laid crucial groundwork for understanding neural specificity, the precise wiring that connects different parts of the brain and body, a truly foundational concept in neuroscience. Sperry possessed a unique ability to devise elegant experiments. These experiments could tease apart complex brain functions. He was interested in how the two halves of our brain, the left and right hemispheres, communicate and collaborate, or indeed how they might function independently. His meticulous work began long before his famous split-brain studies. The Nobel recognition illuminating brain hemispheres. In 1981, Roger Sperry was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. This was a momentous recognition. It was for his discoveries concerning the functional specialization of the cerebral hemispheres. The Nobel Committee recognized the profound impact of his research. His work had opened up entirely new vistas in our understanding of the brain. It was not just about mapping functions to different brain areas. It was about understanding how these areas interact and what happens when their connections are altered. This prestigious award underscored the revolutionary nature of his findings, which had fundamentally reshaped the landscape of neuroscience and psychology. The Nobel Prize specifically highlighted his work with split-brain patients. These were individuals who had undergone a radical surgical procedure to treat severe epilepsy. This procedure involved severing the corpus callosum, the main bundle of nerve fibers connecting the two hemispheres. Sperry, along with his colleague Michael Gazzaniga, saw a unique opportunity. The divided brain understanding split-brain patients. Who are these split-brain patients? They are individuals whose lives offer a unique window into the workings of the human mind. These patients typically suffered from severe, intractable epilepsy. Their seizures were often debilitating, sometimes life-threatening. When all other treatments failed, medications, therapies, a drastic surgical measure was sometimes considered as a last resort. This was not a decision taken lightly. It was a profound intervention aimed at preventing the storm of electrical activity in one hemisphere from spreading to the other and engulfing the entire brain in a massive seizure. The surgery involved was called a corpus callosotomy. The corpus callosum is a thick band of nerve fibers, a massive communication highway. It connects the left and right cerebral hemispheres, allowing them to share information and coordinate their activities seamlessly. Imagine it as the main bridge between two bustling cities, each with its own unique industries and talents. In these patients, this bridge was surgically severed. The aim was to confine the epileptic seizures to one hemisphere, thereby reducing their severity and frequency. Section 5. The great communicator severed, the Corpus Callosotomy. The corpus callosum is a truly remarkable structure. It is the largest white matter structure in the brain, containing hundreds of millions of axonal projections. These are the long, slender extensions of nerve cells that transmit messages. Think of it as an incredibly dense bundle of communication cables, constantly relaying information back and forth between the two cerebral hemispheres. This constant dialogue allows for a unified perception of the world and coordinated action. It ensures that both sides of our brain are working in concert, sharing insights and contributing their specialized skills to our overall experience and behavior, creating a seamless tapestry of thought and action. The decision to perform a corpus callosotomy to sever this vital bridge was never made lightly. It was reserved for the most extreme cases of epilepsy, where seizures were so frequent and violent that they posed a constant threat to the patient's life and well-being. The underlying principle was that by cutting the corpus callosum, an epileptic discharge originating in one hemisphere would be prevented from spreading to the other. Section 6. Peeking into separate worlds. Sperry's revealing experiments. Sperry's experiments were models of scientific ingenuity. They were designed to present information to one hemisphere exclusively, bypassing the severed corpus callosum. A common setup involved patients focusing on a dot in the center of a screen. Images or words would then be flashed very briefly to the left or right visual field. Information flashed to the right visual field would travel to the left hemisphere. Information flashed to the left visual field would go to the right hemisphere. This precise control of sensory input was the cornerstone of his methodology, allowing him to interrogate each hemisphere independently. In one classic experiment, a picture of an object, say a spoon, was flashed to the patient's right visual field. This information went to the left hemisphere, which is typically dominant for language. When asked what they saw, the patient would readily reply, "A spoon." This was expected. The left hemisphere saw the spoon and could articulate what it saw. However, if the image of the spoon was flashed to the left visual field, sending the information to the right hemisphere, something quite different happened. Section 7. Two minds, one skull. The startling evidence of dual awareness. Sperry's experiments showed that severing the corpus callosum results in each hemisphere having its own stream of consciousness. Each hemisphere had its own perceptions, thoughts, and intentions, like two individuals in one body. The left hemisphere, with language, often acted as the spokesperson, interpreting actions initiated by the silent right hemisphere. For example, if the right hemisphere was shown a command to laugh, the patient would laugh. When asked why, the left hemisphere might invent a reason, unaware of the command. This drive to create a coherent narrative, even with incomplete information, is a key aspect of our cognition. Section 8. The I in question, philosophical ripples of a split self. Sperry's findings revolutionized neuroscience and philosophy. The concept of personal identity was called into question. If consciousness could be divided, what does this mean for our understanding of the self? Is the self an indivisible entity or a construct? These questions emerged from split-brain research. Philosophers grappled with the implications. Are there two persons in one body? Which one is the true self? Or are both equally valid? The left hemisphere often appears dominant, but the right hemisphere has its own perceptions. It can make choices. This raised complex questions about personhood. The studies forced a re-evaluation of consciousness. We assume our intentions cause our actions. Section 9, Sperry's Enduring Echo, Reshaping Our View of Mind and Brain. Roger Sperry's split-brain research reshaped our understanding of the brain and consciousness. He showed that the brain's hemispheres can function independently, each with specialized abilities. This was a radical shift from viewing the brain as a single processor. His work has lasting impacts on neurology and psychology.